Chapter 10. The Lobster Quadrille. The Mock Turtle sighed deeply and drew the back of one flapper across his eyes. He looked at Alice and tried to speak, but for a moment sobs choked his voice. "He does the same thing when he has bones in his throat," said the Gryphon, and he set to work to shake the turtle by punching him in the back. At last, the Mock Turtle recovered his voice, and with tears running down his cheeks, he went on again. "You may not have lived much under the sea." "I haven't," said Alice. "And perhaps you were never even introduced to lobsters before." Alice began to say, "I once tasted," but checked herself hastily and said, "No, never." So you can have no idea what a delightful thing a lobster quadrille is. "No, indeed," said Alice. "What sort of a dance is it?" "I'll tell you," said the Gryphon. "You first form into a line along the seashore." "No, it's 2 lines," cried the Mock Turtle. "Seals, turtles, salmon, and so on. And then, once you've cleared all of the jellyfish out of the way—" "Now, that does generally take some time," interrupted the Gryphon. "You advance twice," said the Turtle. "Each with a lobster as a partner," cried the Gryphon. "Of course," the Mock Turtle said. "Advance twice, get your partner, change lobsters, and retire in the same order. Then," said the Mock Turtle, "you throw the lobsters as far out to sea as you can, and you swim after them," added the Gryphon. "And then you turn a somersault in the sea," said the Turtle. He capered wildly about. "Change lobsters again," added the Gryphon. "Back to land again, and that's all the first figure," said the Mock Turtle. His voice dropped suddenly, and the 2 creatures, who had been jumping about like mad things all of this time, sat down again very sadly and quietly and looked at Alice. She felt compelled to respond, so she added timidly, "It sounds like a very pretty dance." "Well, would you like to see it then?" said the Mock Turtle. "Of course I would," said Alice. "Come on then. Let's try the first figure," said the Mock Turtle to the Gryphon. "We can do it without lobsters today," said the Mock Turtle. "But who should sing?" "Oh, you should definitely sing," said the Gryphon. "I can never remember all of the words." So they began solemnly dancing round and round. Every now and again, they would tread on Alice's toes when they passed too closely to her, and they waved their forepaws to mark the time, while the Mock Turtle sang this very slowly and sadly. "Will you walk a little faster?" said the whiting to a snail. "There's a porpoise close behind us, and he's treading on my tail. See how eagerly the lobsters and the turtles all advance. They are waiting on the shingle wheel. Will you come and join the dance? Will you, won't you? Will you, won't you? Will you join me in a dance? Will you, won't you? Will you, won't you? Will you join me in this dance?" You can really have no notion how delightful it will be when they take us up and throw us with the lobsters out to sea. But the snail replied, "Too far, too far," and gave us a look askance. Said he thanked the whiting kindly, but he would not join the dance. Would not, could not, would not, could not, would not join me in this dance. Would not, could not, would not, could not join me in this dance. What matters it how far we go? His scaly friend replied. There is another shore, you know, upon the other side. The further off from England, the nearer it is to France. Then turn not pale, beloved snail, but come and join me in this dance. Will you, won't you? Will you, won't you? Will you join me in this dance? Will you, won't you? Will you, won't you? Won't you join me in this dance? Alice sat for a moment, shocked by the words. Thank you, she said. That is a very interesting dance to watch, although she felt very glad that it was over at last. And I do so like that curious song about the whiting. Oh, said the Mock Turtle, about the whiting. You've seen them, of course. Yes, said Alice. I've often seen them at dinner. She checked herself hastily. How very strange that you've seen them at dinner, said the Mock Turtle. But if you've seen them so often, of course you know what they're like. I believe so, Alice replied thoughtfully. They often have their tails in their mouths, and they're all over crumbs. I don't think that's right, said the Mock Turtle. You're wrong about the crumbs. Crumbs would all wash off in the sea. But they do have their tails in their mouths, and the reason is, for a moment, the Mock Turtle yawned and closed his eyes. I don't know. Tell her the reason, he said to the Gryphon. The reason is, said the Gryphon, that they would go with the lobsters to their dance. So they got thrown out to sea. So they had to fall a long way. So they got their tails fast in their mouths, and they wouldn't take them out again. And that is why. Thank you, said Alice. That is very interesting. I never knew so much about whiting before. Well, I can tell you more, if you like, said the Gryphon. Do you know why they are called whitings? I don't, said Alice. Why don't you tell me? They do the boots and the shoes, said the Gryphon very solemnly. Alice was thoroughly puzzled. They do the boots and the shoes, she repeated. Why, what are your shoes done with? Said the Gryphon. I mean, what makes them so shiny? Alice looked down at her shoes and considered a little while before she gave her answer. I think they're done with a black ink of some kind. Boots and shoes under the sea, the Gryphon went on, are done with whiting. And now you know. But what are they made of? Alice asked, her curiosity piqued. Soles and eels, of course, the Gryphon replied. Even a shrimp could tell you that. If I'd been the whiting, said Alice, whose thoughts were still running on the song, I'd have said to the porpoise, keep back, please. We don't want you with us. Well, they were obliged to have him with them, said the Mock Turtle. No wise fish would go anywhere without a porpoise. Wouldn't it really? Said Alice, in a tone of great surprise. Of course not, said the Mock Turtle. Why, if a fish came to me and told me he was going on a journey, I should say, with what porpoise? Don't you mean purpose? Said Alice, with a bit of sass. I mean what I say, the Mock Turtle replied. His tone was slightly offended, and the Gryphon added, Come on now, let's hear some of your adventures. I could tell you my adventures, beginning from this morning, said Alice. She felt a little timid about this, though. But it's no use going back to yesterday, because I was a completely different person then. Well, now you have to explain, said the turtle. No. The adventures first, said the Gryphon. His tone was slightly impatient. Explanations can take a dreadful amount of time. So Alice began telling them her adventures, from the time when she first saw the white rabbit. She was a little nervous about it just at first. The two creatures got so close to her, one on each side, and opened their eyes and mouths so very wide. But she gained courage as she told them her story. They remained perfectly quiet until she got to the part about her repeating, You are old, Father William, to the caterpillar, and the words all coming different. And then the Mock Turtle drew a long breath and said, That is very curious. It's all about as curious as it can be, said the Gryphon. It all came different than I expected, the turtle said thoughtfully. I should like to hear her try and repeat something now. Tell her something. He looked at the Gryphon, as if he thought it had some kind of authority over Alice. All right then. Stand up and repeat for us. 'Tis the voice of the sluggard, said the Gryphon. How the creatures order one about here, and they so often make me repeat lessons, thought Alice. I might as well be at school for this. However, she got up and began to repeat the lesson, but her head was still full of the Lobster Quadrille, and she hardly knew what she was saying. And the words sounded very strange to her indeed. 'Tis the voice of the lobster, I heard him declare. You have baked me too brown, I must sugar my hair. As a duck with its eyelids, so he with his nose trims his belt and his buttons, and turns out his toes. When the sands are all dry, he is happy as a lark, and will talk in contemptuous tones of a shark. But when the tide rises, the sharks are all around. The Gryphon stopped her. That's different from what I used to say when I was a child, he said. Well, I've never heard it before, said the Mock Turtle, but it sounds like uncommon nonsense. Alice said nothing. She had sat down with her face in her hands, wondering if anything would ever happen in a natural way again. I should like to have this explained to me, said the turtle. No, she can't explain it, said the Gryphon hastily. Just go on with the next verse, he said to her. Well now, what about his toes? The Mock Turtle persisted. How could he turn them out with his nose, you know? It's actually the first position in dancing," Alice said. But she was dreadfully puzzled by the whole thing, and she did so long to change the subject. "Now go on with the next verse, Alice," the Gryphon repeated impatiently. "It begins with, 'I passed by his garden.'" Alice did not dare to disobey, although she felt sure it would all come wrong. But she went on in a trembling voice. "I passed by his garden and marked with one eye how the owl and the panther were sharing a pie. The panther took the pie crust and the gravy and the meat, while the owl had the dish and its share of the treat. When the pie was all finished, the owl, as a boon, was kindly permitted to pocket the spoon, while the panther received knife and fork with a growl. He concluded his banquet. Hey now, what is the use of repeating all of this stuff?" the Mock Turtle interrupted. "If you don't explain it to me as you go on. You are by far the most confusing girl I have ever met." "Yes, I think you'd better leave off," said the Gryphon, and Alice was only too glad to do so. "Shall we try another figure of the Lobster Quadrille?" the Gryphon went on. "Or would you like the Mock Turtle to sing you a song?" "Oh, a song, please, if the Mock Turtle would be so kind," Alice replied. She was so eager that the Gryphon said, in a rather offended tone, "Humph, no accounting for taste. Sing her turtle soup, will you, old fellow?" The Mock Turtle sighed deeply and began, in a sometimes choked voice, to sing, "Beautiful soup, so rich and green, waiting in hot tureen, who for dainties could not stoop. Soup of the evening, what a beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, what a beautiful soup. Beautiful soup. It's a beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, what a beautiful soup. Beautiful soup. Who cares for fish, game, or any other dish? Who would not give all else for 2 pennyworth only of beautiful soup? Pennyworth only of beautiful soup. It's a beautiful soup. Beautiful soup. Soup of the evening. It's a beautiful soup." "Hey, why don't you do the chorus again?" cried the Gryphon, and the Mock Turtle had just begun to repeat it when they heard a cry far off in the distance of "The trial's beginning." "Oh, perfect," cried the Gryphon, and, taking Alice by the hand, he hurried off, leaving the Mock Turtle all alone and without an end to his song. "Tell me now," Alice panted as she ran alongside the Gryphon, "what trial is it? No, come on, faster." And the Gryphon ran faster, grasping her hand as he went, while more and more faintly came, carried on the breeze that followed them, the melancholy words, "Soup of of the evening. It's a beautiful soup.